Hello again, class. As promised, here is the OpenLab introduction. I'm just starting from within the side view. You don't need to see me big and full screen again for the start of this one. Anyhow, this is the OpenLab introduction. The first part might be very familiar to many of you, but some people may not be familiar with OpenLab. Sometimes somebody is transferring into the department for the first time. Sometimes some people just manage to make their way through without seeing it. So I'm going to give you the very core introduction to a few things on OpenLab. Then I'm going to take you into our course site to show you the specifics of how it's organized, because it's really important that we follow some specific instructions when it comes to posting and locating the work for each week. And then I'll point you to some more resources that are available there. Okay, so as you see here, this is openlab.citytech.cuny.edu. This is the OpenLab. We see all of the users, we see the courses, projects, and portfolios here. Now, and you'll also see your own profile in the top corner. For our purposes, I just want to direct you to our course site in case you haven't found it. So one quick and easy way to do that is to just search. And I'm going to go by ComD 3504. You can see it's not the first time I've done that. Click the magnifying glass. And we see there are many sections of ComD 3504. As mentioned, I've been teaching it for a few years. You might be able to tell which ones are mine. And other instructors are also teaching the course. So the first one you see here, and it's not always going to be the first one, make sure that you're looking at OL69 for spring 2022. This is our site. Now you can click on the course, and this is going to keep you into the OpenLab. If you haven't joined yet and you're logged in as a student, you should have an option to join here. Okay, so you can request an invitation if you haven't received it. You should have received it. If you have not, please let me know. But this is also one way you can access that and see what's going on. We can see members in the course and recent, good to see that many people have already joined. And then we see some recent posts. If I click this link, visit course site, it really takes us to our OpenLab page. When I talk about our OpenLab site, this is what I'm really talking about. And again, I know some of you know this, but just to be clear. And here we have our homepage. This was in the syllabus rundown as well. Notice that it's these blue and red circles. I like to just use kind of patterns from different designers for the site pages. This is from Varvara Stepanova, who we're going to read in a few weeks. But this is our homepage. And if you've had a chance to kind of poke around already, great, excellent, perfect. It'll default to the most recent post from me. And I'm going to post a few things every week. The first most important central thing that you should look out for every week is a weekly checklist. Okay, you see it right here. We're calling this week 1 checklist. I've got the dates at the top, and I've got a little introductory paragraph for this one. I won't necessarily always do that, but just say, hi, here's our first post, okay? And then we'll see a rundown in more or less the order in which you should complete these tasks. If you want to veer off script a little bit, you can in some places. One thing you should not do is respond to a reading before reading it. Like, that's obviously not going to work out. But usually the lecture, the asynchronous video content that I post will be referring to the reading that you've completed. So for week 2, I'll give you a video that addresses some of the themes and questions and topics from this week's reading. Okay, so you can watch that, and that makes sense to sort of watch that and complete the previous week's thoughts before you go on to the readings for next week. So again, it's all in order according to the checklist. And I'll also always include links in that checklist. So again, I mentioned the introduction video. Here's a post with guidelines for doing that. So you have sort of all of the requirements for that. And then I can go back, and it's going to move really slowly on me. There we go. Whoops, too far back. And then you can watch one another's videos. I've already added an extra thing to the discussion, but you'll see everyone else's videos coming in. I describe a recent project in my video. There it is. So the discussions are going to be where a lot of the kind of classroom conversation happens. And so on down the line, you see all of the different tasks. If it links to a different part of the website, the link will be there. If it's asking you to comment, then you go back to the piece that you're commenting on. So if you watch the syllabus review, the next thing is to comment on that. So you can have it open in another tab or just go back to that review. And if you have any questions, this week it's not mandatory, but if you have any questions about that syllabus, just please post comments on that post, okay? And so on down the line. View the OpenLab intro video. There will be a link to that, but how can there be a link when I'm recording it right now? It'll be there when you view it. I'm inside the matrix, I think. And again, post any questions you have about this video when you finish watching it, okay? So that's kind of like the classroom work. And then the assignment is a couple of readings, a couple of short essays that you'll see posted in this assignment post. Okay, here's links to the PDFs and some questions to which you'll respond. Now, there's no link to a response. That's just to tell you to categorize it. I'm going to show you that in 1 second, and then we'll post questions and so on. Okay, so every week you'll find this checklist. You got to keep track of what week it is, or at least what date it is to make sure we're on the correct week. And this will be sort of the central weekly resource that you should go to first and foremost. You can also go into the menus and see each task broken out by its category. So we'll see the weekly checklists. Everything that's a discussion, this will include our sort of ongoing conversation around the materials. Then we'll see the assignments. This is where I will post everything for you to do. So again, it's the same thing. This is the post that I just showed you, but it's categorized as an assignment. So you can also access it from here. And throughout the semester, this will build up to be a running list of all of the assignments throughout the semester. Okay. And then if we have surveys, little pop quizzes, it'll probably just be more surveys than quizzes, but that's where those will go. And then student posts will show us the things that you're doing, particularly for your homework assignment. So all of your responses to the readings, once you finish those couple of articles for this week, your responses will show up here. Okay, nobody's responded yet because I just posted everything a little while ago. So by the end of this week, you'll see all sorts of responses in here. And then the research papers and projects will come later in the semester. Okay, so this is where you'll really see the responses. Now, to make everything show up there, this is really important. You see that I have a few functions. I'm logged in here. This is really important. You must be logged in to join. You must be logged into the OpenLab to join the site. You must be logged in when you go to respond to your posts. You can access the site, you can access the readings without logging in, but when it comes time to post, you have to be logged into OpenLab. If you have any issues logging into OpenLab right now, you need to solve that ASAP because you need to log in to submit your responses, okay? So here I am, I've got extra kind of teacher functionality. You won't be able to add pages or forms, but you click this little plus sign in the circle and you'll create a new post, okay? So we've gone through our checklist, which again, we can find right here. We've done all of our class materials. You've watched all those videos and you've read the 2 essays. Now it's time to respond, okay? And again, we can go back and we can think about the questions that are posted. You don't need to go down the list. One thing I really don't want you to do is just answer them one by one in order. There's no need to there's no need to include the prompts in your response. Please don't do that. And please don't respond to the questions one by one. Just start answering. Just kind of start saying like, well, here's what I think. And sometimes you might find yourself kind of going off script and saying, there's this one part that just drove me crazy and I can't understand what the author's talking about. And if you end up writing 3 relevant paragraphs about that, then great. If you haven't answered the final 3 questions, perfect. It's great. You've spent time reflecting on the reading, and that's really what we're going for. Okay, so once I've completed these readings, I'm ready to respond. I'm going to scroll back up, click the plus sign, and create a new post. Okay. The default settings on the site will ask you to select a category, and it will not allow you to publish your post if you haven't selected a category. So it's not a bad idea to just do that right off the bat when you're thinking about how to categorize it. The quote unquote classroom material will typically be categorized as discussions. Okay, so your video introduction is a discussion. Okay, if you have any questions about the syllabus that you want to post in a new post, call that a discussion. Once you've completed your weekly reading and you're responding to it, that should be a response. Okay, make sure you categorize that as response. Okay, assignments are the thing that I give to you, and responses are what you give back to me. Okay, if you categorize it as assignment, it's going to clog up the feed and everybody's going to see your response instead of what they have to do. So really important, when you respond to a reading, categorize it as response. Okay, and then you can, the best way to title it, I think, is your name and for the week. So I'm going to call this Matt Lang for week 1. And then I'm going to say, I thought this was the best reading I've ever read in my life, and it's genius, but I didn't know what the authors were talking about, and I wanted to raise this one question, and thanks for the first great reading in class. Okay, type your response. Again, we've categorized it as response, and then just click publish. Okay, that's how you do your typical reading response. If you're uploading images, again, I said if you want to write your response in a notebook and upload that, it's totally cool. Just click enter and you'll get a new block. This is called the block editor. Click this plus sign and you can choose what to upload. You can choose a file. If it's a snapshot from your phone, then you can choose an image. And I can type in image and here it pops up. Okay, so I can attach an image to this post. You'll see that I did that in my video response. Or when it comes to videos like your introduction, you'll need to record that, upload it to a file sharing service or a streaming service such as YouTube. Okay, you'll need a YouTube account or a Vimeo account. In theory, you could use other ones. You can actually upload videos on Flickr and share those, but there's a limited time. I think they can only be a maximum of 2 minutes, so it can be a little problematic. But wherever you can post a video and create an embedded link, I'm going to add one from YouTube right now. Now, it prompts me to add the URL. I have another tab open. Whoops. Sorry, Zoom is uncooperative. And here's my intro video. Now we're like really deep into the matrix. And if a black cat walks by, we found a glitch and we're in trouble. I can copy this URL, or I can click the share button and copy the URL that comes up here. That actually works better in theory. And then I'm just going to go back to our OpenLab page where I'm adding the new post. And I'm going to hit Command V to paste and then click embed. And now I've embedded the video. So this is how you'll add video content. And I will ask you to upload some video or audio content throughout the semester. So make sure you're familiar with how to use that block editor. And for this one, I'm not going to do, whoops, I got rid of my settings. I'm going to find the trash button for this one because there's really no need. I guess for now, I'll save it as a draft, which you can do and go back to it. But this one is destined for the trash can. Although if we want to see real quick, maybe I'll publish. I lied, I'll publish it. It'll be gone by the time you go back to the website. But just for sake of illustration, I now click Communication Design Theory again, takes me back to our homepage. And because I categorized it as a response, here we are. And this is how the feed will work with everyone's responses. Okay, so that's how we will post everything. You can also see the most recent posts. If you get in there on Monday, you'll be able to find what I just posted. Okay, the last thing I'll show you for right now. So again, familiarize yourself with these menus. Remember that the weekly checklist is going to be your first thing to check out every week. And then finally, I'll just point out that we have this help page. So there's a few different resources that you can get to through this help. There's additional tutorials. I'm going to update the posting and commenting. This is a stock OpenLab page, and I'll add a little bit more that's specific to our class. Course resources will lead you to a whole list of readings and materials that are available through the OER, which I mentioned in the syllabus, and through some other external websites. This is going to be a very powerful resource for you as the semester continues and you continue to work on your own research to supplement what we do in class. And then finally, and then the college resources will take you to some broader topics. These are all things relating to the entire college. And then finally, I'll take you to the OpenLab help. If you're having any issues logging on, remembering your password, accessing your e-portfolio, anything along those lines, this is where you should go, okay? Make sure you can locate this. The same page can be accessed through OpenLab. I think when you're on that OpenLab homepage, if you just type help, it'll bring you to this. But know that this is here. Again, it's really critical that we have access to OpenLab, that we have access to this site, that we are all members of the course site, and that we're familiar with how to easily kind of upload everything and respond. The last thing I want you to do is, waste a half an hour every week trying to mess around with uploading things on OpenLab. Our main emphasis is to read, to write, to take in this theoretical knowledge. We don't want to be bogged down with OpenLab questions. So I hope that helps. If you do have any immediate questions, again, please comment on this post, email me, let me know sooner than later. If you have to fess up about a password, that's totally fine. Let me know now and we will get to the bottom of it. I don't want to be dealing with it in week 3 or 4, okay? Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.